My name is Klara, and getting pregnant was one of the worst things to happen to me. My husband, Tristan, had been verbally and physically abusing me since we'd gotten married, but I never told anyone. I was constantly hiding bruises and crying in the bathroom at home where he wouldn't listen to me. It was just horrible, and no one should ever have to go through what I went through with such an asshole of a husband.
Go get me some beers from the store.
Why can't you go? It's dangerous at night.
You're such a useless woman. Makes me wonder why I ever married you. God, but at least you have a nice body.
He would say these degrading things before hurting me physically. And then one day, I ended up pregnant. I hadn't been feeling right for a while, and I started getting nauseous and having strange food cravings. I knew what these things were symptoms for, so I took a pregnancy test. It was positive. Oh no. I threw up in the bathroom sink. Tristan would not be pleased to find out that I was pregnant because he has never wanted kids, but I wouldn't be able to hide it from him. That night I made him sit on the couch so I could tell him, "Honey, I'm pregnant."
What? You better not be lying to me. This is all some kind of trick to get away from me. Isn't it? You bitch.
There was no trick. It was the truth. 9 months passed with my belly growing bigger from pregnancy. Tristan was still violent, although he avoided hurting the baby. He insisted we give up the baby for adoption and claimed he wanted to give the baby to a family a few cities away. The day I was to give birth, he refused to take me to the hospital. I'd have to take a bus to get there. He refused to come with me.
I refuse to get your disgusting pregnancy fluids all over my car. I just got it detailed. Don't worry, I'll take the car and meet you there once the baby is born.
Tristan intended for me to give birth all by myself, and he wanted nothing to do with it. So I got on the bus when it was time. It was cramped with obnoxious kids, annoyed mothers, and angry fathers. "Get your shoes off the seat, please."
Get your shoes off the damn seat.
At first, I thought my headache was just from all the yelling in the cramped bus. A kid had kicked the back of my seat more than once, making my already sore back hurt even worse. As the bus drew closer to our destination, however, the headache and my back pain got even worse. It felt like I was having contractions, but I couldn't be going into labor yet. It was a little too early for that. "Sorry, ma'am, can you tell your kid to stop kicking my seat? I'm pregnant and..."
Kid won't listen. You'll just have to deal with it.
The kicking continued, so I ignored my contractions, thinking I was imagining them. I managed to fall asleep since the bus ride would take another few hours. I woke up an hour later because my entire body felt pained. My seat was wet and people were laughing.
Ha ha ha, you peed yourself. Women these days don't have any decency. Get your disgusting ass off this bus.
My water broke. I have to get to a hospital or dash. I screamed in pain. This felt so humiliating, and the pain in my back was even worse. Even if we were giving up the baby for adoption, I was still supposed to be having the baby at a hospital, not on a bus.
"Miss, we can't deviate from our route. I can drop you here."
That would be even worse. Alone by myself and giving birth outside of a hospital? No way. Tristan had said he'd meet me at our destination. "Keep driving. I'm having this baby." I held out for as long as I could, but eventually the birth was inevitable, forced along by the bumpy roads. My baby was born on the bus. Tristan was going to be furious. When the bus finally arrived in the city, I went straight to the hospital. The staff made sure the baby was healthy, but they also took care of me. One of the nurses noticed my bruises.
Oh my God! Did the father do this?
No. Actually, I was sick of lying to cover for Tristan. He'd already put me through hell, and with the baby, it was even worse. Yes, he did. He's supposed to meet me here, and we were going to give the baby up. The nurse listened to my story. I told her about how horrible Tristan was and how the adoption wasn't official until we handed over the baby and signed some papers.
Don't sign the papers. This is your baby.
I knew the nurse was right, so I did what I could to keep my baby. I called my parents and the police from the hospital. By the time Tristan arrived in the city, the police arrested him on domestic violence charges and child abuse charges since I'd been pregnant. My parents hadn't known any of this was going on and were shocked at the news, but they did everything they could to get me a good lawyer. Later, there was a big court case where I won full custody of the baby and Tristan got sentenced to prison for a year and with a $1,000 fine. The only thing the lawyer couldn't handle was a divorce between Tristan and I. I was still married to him. In the year that passed, things didn't really get any easier for me. I was a single mother, taking care of a crying infant, and all of my neighbors felt the need to get involved in my business.
Do you think they'll let Tristan go early for good behavior? He was such a sweet man. The baby needs a father, you know. Are you sure you're going to still try to get divorced?
It was like that every day. All of my neighbors had liked Tristan and they couldn't believe. He was an abuser, which meant that they didn't like me at all. An entire year of this. Once the year's sentencing was up, I was nervous all the time. Was Tristan going to try and take the baby from me? Would he hurt me or worse? It didn't help that I still wasn't sleeping, much because the baby woke me up. One night, I was exhausted and passed out, expecting to be woken by the baby crying. Except when I woke up and checked the time, I'd slept through the bloody night. Something was wrong. I rushed to check on the baby, but the baby was gone. I checked the entire house and noticed that the back door had been forced open. I'd taken some precautions with the baby because of my relationship to Tristan, which included a video camera baby monitor. I looked through the footage from the camera and then called the police to tell them. My husband was recently released from prison and
Ma'am, I'm going to need you to calm down.
he broke into my house and kidnapped my baby. That got the officer's attention. He said he'd look into the issue and that I should send over my video evidence and then advised that I should call my lawyer. After a few days of not hearing from the police, I got a voicemail from a man named Jim.
Hello, Klara. You might not know me, but my name is Jim. My wife and I were supposed to adopt that baby of yours before we saw on the news what your husband had done, and well, we never expected to see him or the child. But Tristan just showed up on our doorstep with the baby swearing up and down that we should give him $50,000 because of all the hell he'd gone through to get it.
What the hell was Tristan thinking? He'd allowed someone to see him. Maybe prison had. Scrambled his brain because that sounded like an awful decision.
Anyway, Klara, we have the child with us. We wrote Tristan a check.
They seriously bought the baby. Why would they tell me something so incriminating?
Don't worry, Klara. The check is going to bounce. We don't even use that bank anymore. I just wanted to let you know that you can come get your baby, and we've called the police on Tristan.
I'm so lucky these people were so sweet. I drove into the city, and by the time I arrived at the couple's house, it was evening. They had some news station on the TV. I was so relieved to see my baby that I barely noticed what was happening on the news.
Klara, you should look at what's happening on the TV. The cops found your man.
It was true. The news was covering a police chase with Tristan's mugshot up on the screen. The reporter sounded like this was the most interesting thing they had covered all day.
Tristan just got out of prison and kidnapped his child before trying to sell it to an older couple who called the police. Police have caught up to him, but Tristan is trying to run across the freeway.
I watched as an overhead view showed Tristan indeed trying to run across the freeway to get away from the police. Cars were trying to swerve out of his way, but then one hit him. Over the next month, everything felt too fast. Tristan had been admitted to the hospital with a serious brain injury, although he'd unfortunately live, and he was forced to sign our divorce papers while he was still in recovery. Once Tristan was fully healed, he was imprisoned. For kidnapping and breaking and entering, those charges would keep him in prison for a while. Years later, my child was old enough to be starting elementary school, and I'd gotten Remarried to a doctor who provided more than enough for our family. I was pregnant again, but things were much better this time. As my child left on the bus for school that morning, I checked the mail. I'd gotten an invitation to Tristan's funeral from his parents, which included a separate note saying that they were sorry for everything and that I didn't have to come to the funeral, but they wanted to give me the peace of mind that the asshole was now out of my life forever. Apparently, he died from his brain injury, since it shortened his lifespan tremendously. I'm just glad to know that I would never have to deal with him again. Thanks for watching.